Let's talk about superpowers. Have you ever felt like you were meant for more? And it doesn't matter how hard you try, you've been working hard, but still, when people ask you, what's your thing? You go blank. You say, I don't know. Honestly, it's not that you don't know, it's not that you don't have superpowers because everybody has them. They're in front of you, but you have not been able to uncover them and be intentional with them. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this video. I'm going to help you uncover your superpowers because when you claim those superpowers with intentionality, then the world sees them. And then you own that narrative, you own your path. And don't worry, this is not about fluff or fake it till you make it. This is about you, being you, owning your brilliance. Because when you finally know what makes you powerful, the world will know too. This is truly the differentiator of the people who are like making it big out there because they own their story, they own who they are. And because this exact concept is because I had the career I had 24 years in corporate America, vice president of global talent acquisition of company number 13 in the world. I was a chief operating officer in the innovation and business side. I used to manage manufacturing sites, you name it. And also the reason that I have the business right now. So, no fluff. Are you ready? Let's own those superpowers and be intentional with them. So let's start defining what superpowers. Superpowers is not everything that you do well because I'm sure that if you're watching this video, you're multi-talented in many different dimensions. So it's not for you to start listing every single thing that you do well because when you do that, you dilute yourself, you dilute your value, and you also confuse people. Have you ever been in a situation where you ask somebody, "Oh, tell me about you," and the person just keeps talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and what happens to your brain? It shuts down because the brain is designed to conserve energy. And whenever it starts getting distracted or confused, it shuts down. You don't want people to shut down on you. So superpower are those top one, two, or three, no more. Top super strengths that just make you shine. Like that's your jam. That's how you operate at your best. And it starts being a competitive advantage for you and also a differentiator. I'll start with an example of what not to do. I remember coaching once this person who wanted to do a career pivot from where she was to marketing. And then, as part of that, I was gonna say audition, but interview, it felt like an audition. Interview, she had to come up with these slides. And one of the slides in the presentation that she was coming up with was describe yourself. What are your top strengths? And she sent me the slides for me to review before she was going to send them to the hiring manager. And when I saw that slide, whenever you start putting bullet points in a slide and you keep adding and adding and adding, and the more you add, the font gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's exactly what happened with her. And I remember calling her and say, "Hey, I don't know who you are." And of course, at the beginning, her gut reaction was, "Excuse me? You don't know me? What do you mean?" I say, "No, no. If I put myself in the shoes of the hiring manager, remember, this person is going to see a bunch of different presentations from different people who want also the job. Do you think I'm going to remember you by reading that slide of an enormous amount of bullet points about everything you do? No. So let's change. Let's change about why you are the right leader for that organization. What do you bring that is going to be like that missing piece in the puzzle that is going to turn everything around for that hiring manager? Like, talk about that. What are your superpowers? How can you best help them? And how do you know that you are the person? So yes, of course, she rewrote it. She rewrote it with heart, and guess she got the job. So this is how you can be intentional with your superpowers. And it's not about pretending to be somebody who you're not. You're just being authentic, but with intention. So Jenny, how do I come up with these superpowers? You don't have to come up with them. We just have they're inside of you already. We have to uncover them. So I'm gonna give you a couple of ways on how you can uncover your superpowers. The first one is obvious but also powerful. Perhaps you already know it. There's something that people compliment with you with, and you know exactly that's one of your superpowers. For example, for me, is energy. Everybody keeps talking about my energy, my energy, my energy. I'm like, awesome. So now that I know that energy is one of my superpowers, then is how do I use it intentionally? Don't overuse it. And I know exactly when and what dose to insert my superpower. So that's the responsibility that you have. If you already know one of them because it's so obvious, everybody's giving you a lot of praise about it and you just feel it, then learn how to be intentional with it and even continue to work on that super strength or superpower to take it to the next level. Because sometimes people focus on working on what they don't do so well. Well, focus on your strength. how can you take that superpower to the next level? And you can do it by having a mentor, you can do it by training, you can do it by raising your hand and putting inserting yourself in a situation that is going to challenge you and it's going to help you grow in that skill. So whatever that is, take it to the next level, learn how to use it and when to use it in an intentional way. Number two is that you can ask people that know you well. Let's start with five at least. People that know you well, and you say, "Hey, when you think of me, what are the first three words that come to your mind? What do you think are my superpowers?" And ask your friends, ask your colleagues, your supervisor, your kids, your family members, people that know you well. And at the beginning, they're gonna give you the look about what, but then they're gonna play along. And the first thing is that it's gonna feel good, and the second thing is that you're gonna start uncovering a trend about this word comes and repeats a lot. And for me, the word was caring. And at the beginning, I'm thinking, okay, well, what's special about caring? Like everybody cares. That's the thing. Sometimes your superpowers are so common sense to you because that's just the way you're built. That's the way you do things. It's in your DNA that you don't think that there's anything special with it and everybody else is the same way. And that's a bad assumption. So look for these hints, look about what people are saying and then think about that. For me, it was caring. And when I heard caring, same thing. I'm thinking, well, there's nothing special about that. Everybody cares. But when I started reflecting, I realized the way I show up as a leader, as a mom, as a friend is in a very authentic and caring way. And I said, that does separate me. My leadership style separate me from my peers. So how can I double down on it? I'm going to be the best, inclusive, authentic, caring leader out there. And the cool thing is that you start owning your narrative because you have no idea how many times I have heard, "Oh, Jenny, you're just too nice. You're too nice." And at the beginning, I'm thinking, but now I'm like, no, it's not that I'm too nice. It's that I care. And because I care, that makes me a phenomenal inclusive leader. And that's why I've been able to transform these organizations. So this is how, once you know your superpowers, you start owning your voice, which is so powerful because nobody else owns your voice or your journey but you. Okay, let's talk about the third thing. The third thing is that you're going to start reflecting, even in a piece of paper, and start thinking, when people ask me for help, when people ask me to consult, or they ask me to be part of the team or lead the team, what are those occasions? And you start writing a list, and then you're going to see another trend. You're going to see something that is going to continue to repeat. And that's another hint of your superpowers. For example, when I reflected on my career, at some point I'm thinking, why do they keep punishing me? Because they will put me in the worst performing teams, the ones with the most HR issues, the most disengaged ones, the ones that they were just troublemakers. And then I say, I have had a trajectory of transforming organizations, and I truly love taking organizations to levels that they never thought they could achieve. And I said, that's my superpower. I transform organizations. And believe it or not, once I started owning that superpower, that's what helped me go from manufacturing to the business to innovation and ended up in HR. So that's the magic whenever you own your superpowers in a very intentional way. Because again, that's your superpower. You're not competing with anybody else. That's your jam. That's how you can best help. I'm going to share another one that I have not shared too much before. And I start reflecting on those difficult moments in your life. Those moments that you say, wow, I did that. I navigated that challenge. I overcame X, Y, Z. When you start journaling, and again, I love the journal practice, you're going to start thinking about what is my procedure? I'm going to get very nerdy. What is my SOP, my standard operating procedure? When things get hard, how do I tackle those challenges? Because you've done hard things. You've done hard things. And again, this is a little bit of a secret to work on your confidence. Every time you feel that you're lacking confidence because there's something new that you're going to tackle, think back about those amazing things and challenges that you have been able to already navigate and be successful on the other side. And then use that as your little confidence boost moving forward. Okay, but going back to superpowers, start reflecting about that. How do you overcome those challenges? What do you usually do? And then you're gonna see then that may be another superpower. Perhaps is resourcefulness. And let me tell you, if that's one of your superpowers, congratulations, because a lot of people that are successful out there is not because of the resources that they have, but it's because they are resourceful with the resources that they have. Hmm. Let that sink. Perhaps it's resilience. Perhaps it's your humor. Perhaps it's how you teamwork on how you grab the right people together and make it happen. So think about that, and that may uncover another superpower of. So I know you're listening to this video. Perhaps you're working out, or you are in your living room, or you are driving, but I want you to truly do these exercises. And if this is something that can help you, I also inserted a free guide that you can just download it and then go to the next level when it comes to owning the superpowers and how you create a position statement. So that way it helps you owning who you are and how you can best help both in a personal setting or in social media. So make sure that you download it. It's in the description. Now, are you committing that you're going to follow up with the exercise? Make sure you do. Tony Robbins always says that there's three levels of mastery. And the first one is that you hear about the concept and you're like, oh, okay, but you're still not doing it, right? And then the second is that you hear it again, or you read it again, or a different podcast or a different speaker say, oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember. I know it. I know it. You know it, but you're not doing it yet. So it's not until you get to the level of mastery where you are doing the thing. It's part of how you do things, it's part of your habits, it's part of your discipline model. So that's the level of mastery that I want you to get to the superpowers, because I'm telling you, the opportunities that you're going to unlock are priceless. So take action. Don't be one of those 97% people who listens to it, get excited for a second, and then they do nothing with it. Be part of that top 1 to 3% that they take action. Now, I don't want to end the video without just sharing a big aha moment. And this actually happened after I was doing a keynote. And at the end, I was talking about superpowers. And I said, are there any questions? And this lady, she didn't even need a mic. She was that loud. At the end of the auditorium was like, Jennie, I used to like your message. And now I don't believe it. And everybody was, ooh, including myself. And then I said, well, tell me more. She said, it's about being unapologetically myself, and I'm loud, and I love to always share my opinion, and that's my superpower. And I'm always getting feedback for improvement. I'm always getting feedback that I'm too much. I'm always getting feedback. And she kept going, going, going. And then I realized, ooh, I think I'm empowering people a little too much. But this is the thing, is that, remember when I say is the superpower, the authentic superpowers with intentionality, because it's like every strength. If you overuse any strength, it can become a derailer. It can become something that works against you. So you want to make sure that you understand, okay, this is my superpower. If I don't use it, what am I missing? Or what is the impact that people have, right? By me not using my superpower. Or if I overuse it, what happens? What is the unintended consequence? And the impact perhaps as well. So that's whenever I said when to use it and what those, how to use it intentionally. So make sure that once you identify those 1, 2, 3 superpowers, you understand how can I best help them? How can I continue to amplify them? How can I continue being intentional, articulating them and leveraging them when it matters the most? But also, what is an unintended consequence if I overuse it? And that perhaps is going to be another video, but right now I'm just dropping the hint, so that way you can start reflecting about how will that benefit or play against me. So be intentional with your superpowers. I'm going to share two quick examples on how my clients have used their superpowers. One of them, it was in the corporate arena, and she was saying, oh, Jennie, I get so intimidated because I'm getting now invited to these lead team meetings with all these executives, and I'm just there like a fly on the wall. And I'm, no, you don't want to be invisible. What are your superpowers? And then she's thinking, well, I don't know. Sometimes I think they're just so, they have so much more experience, they're smarter, and I just feel so small. And I'm thinking, what are your superpowers? And she said, I'm a really good facilitator. I'm really good about getting people aligned and moving forward. And I say, okay, what has been your experience when you go to those meetings? Are they very organized? And is there a clear trajectory about this is where we are, this is where we want to be, and this is the game plan? And she said, oh, Jennie, no, they're so disorganized. Sometimes I just think they just love the tone of their voices. I'm thinking, that's where you're going. And that's exactly what she did. The next time she prepared, she read the pre-work and all of that. And then she saw people just going back and forward with no direction. And then she raised her hand and said, hey, can I offer something? This is just an observation. I know that this is the outcome that we want, and I'm looking at the time, and we perhaps know we are not on track on getting there. Can I help? Can I get this marker? Can I start just writing things down and getting the team aligned to move forward so we get to the outcome. And as a matter of fact, her supervisor was, yes, please, thank you. Because that's not their superpower, but that was my friend's superpower. That made her very, very powerful. And now that she was in part of the conversation, she was also learning and upskilling so much. At the same time, she was offering her superpower and helping the team. See, it's not about you, it's about how you can best help with your superpowers, the problem to be solved, the solution to be uncovered, the team that you have to serve and support and develop. Another one of my clients was in sales, and he has ADHD, and he was thinking, man, I think this is playing against me. This is why I'm not growing and I'm stuck in my career, and the ADHD and the ADHD, and he kept using that as the reason as of why he was not moving forward. And then I said, okay, so what do you think are the strengths about you having ADHD? Thinking nothing. That's what he said, nothing. And I said, no, no. What if that was your superpower and you don't know? Tell me more about it. And he was sharing with me, well, Jenny, when people ask me questions, I need time to process. I need time to process. And sometimes I feel like I need to be there and talking and leading. And I say, how refreshing. You know how many people out there, they just don't listen? They don't listen. They don't listen because they're only caring about their agenda. So that is an amazing superpower that you have because you can listen, you're processing the information so you can best help and care for the person that you're helping. How refreshing is that? That's your competitive advantage. And there is always a way on how to articulate that as you are building trust and rapport with that person at the beginning. Once he did that, he started differentiating himself from wholesale team and even won an award. See, that's the power. I'm telling you, this thing works. So take action. So I want to learn about your superpowers. Mine are energy, a low transforming organization, and is my authentic leadership. So what is yours? Tell me in the comments. I get inspired by everybody's superpowers. And listen, as we close, you don't need to be more qualified. You don't need another training, another qualification, another coach, another mentor, another sponsor, another this and that. No, you already have in you what you need. Just have to be intentional with it because your story matters and your voice carries a lot of power, and people need to see that. And now that you're starting to see what your superpowers are, then we need to stop playing small because the world doesn't need another perfect version of whatever. The world needs your authentic your imperfect you with all your energy, your sazon, all with purpose and heart. So now it's time to take action. And if you're wondering, how do I do this when it comes to social media? In LinkedIn, for example, I got you. I have an awesome video that walks you through everything that you do to make sure that you're intentional with your brand and your superpowers on LinkedIn, which is such a powerful tool for professionals and business owners. So make sure you watch that video. It's in the description. Amigos, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any comments. I get inspired by your comments, your questions, and let's make sure that we continue to grow together. That's how you can help me continue to amplify this message. And my name is Jennie Lopez, and I empower people to be authentic and win in this world with purpose, with confidence, and with intentionality. So if you like this video, make sure you share, you subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye.